This is a quote for a two-family house. I've poured your savings of $300,000 that you had been saving into this. What? Did you already spend that money? Be grateful. We've put it to good use. It's your fault for hiding it. Did you guys even check the name on the bank book? My name is Kim. I'm a 35-year-old office worker. I've been married to Patrick for 2 years. We met at a mixer and started dating after he made a strong approach. About a year into our smooth-sailing relationship, he proposed, and we got married. Initially, Patrick was very kind, and I thought I had married a good person. However, about a year into our marriage, Patrick's attitude began to gradually change. He was initially agreeable to sharing household chores, doing things like cleaning and laundry. Since he wasn't good at cooking, I took on that responsibility. We had a good balance with each sharing the household chores. But Patrick started saying he was tired more often, and the pace of his household work slowed down. Gradually, he stopped doing his share of the chores. Since I work too, it's tough to handle the daily cooking and also get to cleaning and laundry. Therefore, I end up doing everything in bulk over the weekend. Even though he promised to help a little, he refuses. I earn more, so it makes sense to reduce my share of the chores. Saying such, Patrick stubbornly stopped doing any household work. Around this time, he started acting more domineering, insisting on having his way in everything. His selfish behavior began to take a mental toll on me. There's another presence that troubles me, and that's my mother-in-law. She has a habit of showing up unannounced around the time I get home from work. She comes when neither the cooking is ready nor the room is tidied up, which is really troubling. Then, she goes around the house, scolding me. What is this mess? Why are you not doing the household chores? I can't believe you're letting Patrick live in such a mess. You're a failure. Coming home tired from work only to be nagged by my mother-in-law is really hard to bear. Well, actually, cleaning and laundry are supposed to be my husband's responsibilities. Explaining a situation like this doesn't help at all. What are you talking about? My son is working. He shouldn't have to do household chores at all. But I'm working too. It's different from working half-heartedly like you. Patrick is working hard, sweating it out in the rough waves of society. I work hard too. But no matter what I say, it doesn't seem to get through to my mother-in-law. She's not someone you can have a reasonable conversation with. What are you making today anyway? You have to make sure Patrick eats something nutritious. Today I'm making fried chicken, salad, and soup. That's not enough. What? That's not enough. Make 2 more dishes. But, after working all day, I can't make that much. Stop talking back to me. I wonder how you were brought up by your parents. Why do I have to be spoken to like that? I got angry and said something provocative. Aren't you the one being unreasonable by coming to our house unannounced? Didn't your parents teach you any manners? Then, my mother-in-law got angry, her eyes wide with fury. Excuse me. Who do you think you are? Don't you dare speak to me like that, you're just a daughter-in-law. And just as my mother-in-law was ranting, my husband came home. I'm home. Oh, Mom's here? Patrick, welcome back. Listen to this. Kim said such terrible things to me. I'm so hurt. Saying this, my mother-in-law started to pretend to cry. My husband believed her words and glared at me sharply. What's this, Kim? Hurting my mom like that is the worst. Wait a minute. She said hurtful things to me first? So, I just talked back a little. Then, my mother-in-law, sobbing exaggeratedly, acted as if she was the innocent one. I didn't say anything. I just wanted to give Kim some advice about household chores. But she got offensive and angry all of a sudden. What? Kim, what kind of person are you? Wait, you're just going to believe that? My mom wouldn't lie. Picking on my mom while I'm not around is cowardly. I didn't think you were such a woman. My husband completely took my mother-in-law's side and wouldn't listen to anything I said. As punishment, you're skipping dinner tonight. Mom's going to eat your dinner. What? That's... If you understand, then go to your room or go outside. My mom wouldn't want to be around you. After being told that by my husband, I had no choice but to go outside. Despite my fatigue, I had cooked dinner. Why do I have to endure this treatment? Feeling very sad, I went to a diner nearby to eat and kill some time. Not wanting to see my mother-in-law, I spent about 2 hours there and returned home late at night. My mother-in-law had already left, which was a relief. But my husband nagged me about various things. I still haven't forgiven you. My mom was really shocked. She came all the way to see how we were doing. Hearing this, I thought it was better not to argue with my husband and just apologized formally. He seemed satisfied, having made me submit. From then on, my mother-in-law would come unannounced, criticizing everything about the household chores. And when my husband came back, she would say, "I want to eat alone with Patrick," driving me out, or they would go out to eat without touching the food I made. My husband always sided with my mother-in-law, creating a situation where she would complain about me for no reason, and I would get scolded by my husband. It became so relentless and mentally exhausting that I consulted my father-in-law. He seemed unaware that my mother-in-law was frequently visiting our home, and appeared genuinely sorry. I'm truly sorry. She always said she was going out to eat with friends, so I didn't realize. No, it's not your fault, Father. She said it was hard to manage friendships. So I've been giving her money for meals, but she hasn't offered it, has she? This is the first I've heard of it. I'm really sorry. My father-in-law apologized to me repeatedly. He promised to speak sternly to my mother-in-law, so I thought this would make things better. But soon after, my mother-in-law visited our home again and complained to me. You're really cowardly. Telling on me to my husband. I was just checking on you and Patrick for your sake. I'm really sad. Despite her angry words, I couldn't let myself be defeated anymore. Mother, I heard you've been receiving money from your husband every time you visit us. He gave it to you for meal expenses, but why hasn't any of that money come to us? Are you keeping all the money your husband gave you for yourself? What are you talking about? Don't say such terrible things. I always pay when I go out to eat with Patrick. But your husband said he gave you money every time. You've eaten at my house quite a few times, haven't you? What do you think your husband would think if he knew you were pocketing most of it? You're a terrible daughter-in-law. Are you trying to trouble me? I'm the one who's troubled. Please don't come over so often. Shut up. I'm just visiting my son's house. I'm not here to see you, after all. Saying this, my mother-in-law plopped down on the sofa. I don't want to see your face. I'll be here until Patrick comes back, so go somewhere else. I was utterly dumbfounded. And since I didn't want to see my mother-in-law's face either, I decided to stay in my room. Later, when my husband came back, he and my mother-in-law began to chat happily in the living room. Not wanting to be nagged again, I took the opportunity to slip out to the diner while my husband and mother-in-law were talking. After about 3 hours, I returned home. My husband was already asleep, and my mother-in-law was gone. So I went to my room, enjoying the quiet and peace. Then, I felt something was off. Wondering what it could be, I opened the closet and found that my favorite high-brand bag was missing. I was sure it was my mother-in-law's doing. She must have taken advantage of my absence to sneak into my room and steal it. Unbelievable. I immediately consulted with my father-in-law, who was speechless. No way, she wouldn't steal, would she? Initially, my father-in-law didn't fully believe me. But after I sent him a photo of me buying the bag and shared the serial number I had noted down for some reason, he said he would look into it while my mother-in-law was out. Kim, I'm so sorry for having such a foolish wife. He apologized and met me at a cafe to return the bag. He apologized profusely. Patrick and she are hopeless. I wish I could teach them a lesson. After saying that, my father-in-law seemed to have an idea. I was surprised by the plan he shared with me. Will it really work? Later, I decided to carry out my father-in-law's plan. My mother-in-law kept visiting as usual. Then, she suddenly glared at me. You haven't been stealing, have you? Excuse me? What are you talking about? My bag has been stolen. Oh boy, that bag was originally mine. That's unfortunate. I suspect it's you. Why would you think that? Humph. You don't seem well educated. Is that so? Should we report this to the police? What? No, that won't be necessary. She didn't want to involve the police because it would reveal that she was the thief. But she would probably rummage through my room again. This would be an opportunity for me. Then, when my husband came back, I deliberately went out. I had moved all valuables and my favorite expensive items to my parents' house. I had already talked to my parents about preparing for a divorce. So except for the bare essentials for daily use, there was nothing of value left in my room. Except for one thing. I purposely returned home earlier than usual. And just then, my mother-in-law was leaving. She and my husband were smirking. Seeing their expressions, I realized they had fallen into the trap. My father-in-law's plan seemed to be succeeding. And when my mother-in-law came back on the weekend, I stayed in my room, wanting nothing to do with her, until they called me out. Both had triumphant looks on their faces. I never thought you had saved up so much. What are you talking about? Oh, playing dumb now? About the money in the bank account. Really, keeping it a secret from Patrick makes you such a stingy woman. I graciously used it for our family instead. What? What do you mean? My husband and mother-in-law, grinning, began to lay out some quotation documents on the table. This is a quote for a two-family house. What? I've poured your savings of $300,000 that you had been saving into this. What? Did you already spend that money? Be grateful. We've put it to good use. Why would you do something like that without asking? It's your fault for hiding it. I combined it with my savings of $50,000 and paid in full. That way, there's no interest. I can't believe it. Deciding something so important on your own. Huh? You don't have the right to have an opinion or make decisions. Exactly. From now on, you will be our slave and do all the household chores. If you want to run away, you can. But don't forget most of it was bought with your money. It would be a waste to hand over $300,000 and just leave, wouldn't it? Laughing loudly were my husband and mother-in-law. The worst. I can't believe I married someone with such a terrible personality. Somewhere in my heart, I had hoped that my husband was just being influenced by his mother and was actually a good person. But it seems that was not the case. Now, I have no regrets. I took out the divorce papers I had kept in the drawer and placed them in front of my husband. Please, let's get a divorce. My husband and mother-in-law were shocked. Are you serious? You'll lose so much. Sadly, I'm not losing anything. Huh? Did you guys even check the name on the bank book? Huh? After I said that, my husband hurriedly checked the name on the bank book. Then, both he and my mother-in-law looked at each other, surprised. What does this mean? Why is it in my name? My mother-in-law screamed that. Hey! What's this about? Kim. Did you steal my mom's bank book? Don't say such terrible things. I was just keeping it for your father. Despite what I said, my husband and mother-in-law didn't believe me. Don't mess with us. That can't be true. Exactly. You thief. We'll take you to the police. Seeing they had lost, they changed their attitude. Such low standards. You're welcome to consult the police. At that time, I'll also submit the footage from the security camera I had hidden in my room. It clearly shows you two breaking into my safe and taking what's inside. When I said that, my husband and mother-in-law's faces turned pale. But you stealing my mom's bank book is also a crime, isn't it? Exactly. You're going down with us. As they screamed that, my father-in-law arrived. Actually, I had contacted him when my husband called me to the living room. Dad. Listen to this. Kim stole mom's bank book. This woman is a thief. Quiet. Both of you, be quiet. Startled by my father-in-law's shout, my husband and mother-in-law froze. I had Kim hold onto your bank book. Why would you do such a thing? Because you and Patrick have been making Kim's life miserable. Not only bullying your daughter-in-law, but to think you'd steal a bag. Shameful. Excuse me? What are you talking about? Playing dumb is useless. I returned that bag to Kim. That's... My mother-in-law was shocked to find out my father-in-law knew everything. Then, why did you have Kim hold on to that bank book? Someone who would steal a bag without a second thought would surely try to open a safe if they found one. That was a trap set to test you. But I never expected you to go as far as building a house. My father-in-law looked utterly disappointed. That $300,000 was transferred as a division of assets because I decided to divorce you. Knowing you, I thought you'd mistakenly spend it like water. So I planned to keep it in the safe until all procedures were finished. My mother-in-law's face turned pale at my father-in-law's words. Huh? Divorce. I've had enough. You've done whatever you pleased for too long. From now on, you can live however you like alone. Wait a minute. So? I've already spent all the money given to me as part of the property division. It seems so. But that's what you deserve. I have properly divided the property. I won't give a single penny more. What? What am I supposed to do if I'm left with nothing after the divorce? You have a house, so you'll be fine. Despite the mother-in-law's pleas, the father-in-law coldly dismissed her and thrust the divorce papers at her. My husband watched with his mouth agape. I then handed the divorce papers to my husband. Why are you just standing there? Hurry up and sign. This. Are we really going to get divorced? Of course. And there's still more I need to claim from you. What? I have recorded all the verbal abuse you and your mother have thrown at me. After consulting with a lawyer, I was told I could claim damages for emotional abuse. That's... I also know about your affair. What? I have evidence photos from the detective agency. So, I'll also be claiming damages for the affair. According to the lawyer, I can claim about $50,000 from you. What? Wait a minute. I don't have any savings left because I contributed $50,000 to buying the house. There's a thing called installment payments, so that'll do. This. My money. Thus, my divorce from my husband was successfully finalized. Through the lawyer, I was able to receive the compensation in full. It seems the father-in-law was also able to divorce the mother-in-law. My husband and mother-in-law ended up losing all their savings because they mistakenly thought they were using my money to build a house. They considered selling the house, but its value had dropped to about half of what they paid for, making it too much of a loss to sell. The mother-in-law is not yet of age to receive a pension, and my former husband was demoted and sent to the countryside by his company after the affair was discovered, resulting in a pay cut, despite having bought a house. He's now living in a cheap company apartment in the countryside, paying compensation. The former mother-in-law, despite having a grand house, can't afford luxuries and has to work part-time to make ends meet, leading a frugal life. Meanwhile, I have a comfortable life due to the money I've saved up since before I was married. For now, I think I'll steer clear of relationships, continue saving, and start investing to increase my assets.